I was in my world doing the normal sweep of certain material when I noticed a new player icon. I checked to see if my party was opened. It was not. I started to follow the icon to find this player that had joined my world. But as I kept moving toward it, it kept moving away. I opened my chat to try and talk, but nothing was heard. I then noticed a text chat on my screen. Random user 169, your eyes are open and I am there. Close them. I'm there too. What am I? At this point I was thinking this was one of my friends playing a prank or something. I kept on to try and find random user 169. The icon was moving at a very high speed over the ocean, so I assumed it was moving by boat. I quickly went back to base to gather the material to make a boat and checked my map. I was horrified when I saw that the icon was right outside my house. I had no windows in this particular part of my house, basement, so I could not see outside. I had to go back up there and look for myself. I checked the map again and there was a glitch on it. A cute dark patch where the icon was supposed to be. I peered above the stairs and crouched through the house to the nearest window, praying this was a joke. It was night time, but this was different. I couldn't see anything. I checked my map again to see that it was all pitch black. I opened my door. The darkness started coming in slowly as I saw another text chat on screen. Random user 169, the dark. I was mortified by this point, so I quickly turned off my console. I was legitimately having the worst anxiety attack ever. I called the friend I thought it was, knowing that Noon was capable of doing any of these things in Lego. And like I knew would happen, he denied every bit of it. I was scared AF, but I said screw it. I turned the game back on and got back to the world I was in. My screen was black as soon as I loaded into Fortnite. A text chat appeared. Random user 169, where do skeletons walk their dogs? I then loaded straight into Lego. It was daytime. Everything felt normal and I was relieved. Except for the fact that my inventory was filled with bones. Each slot individually had max bones. I emptied them, but they kept going back into my inventory. I checked my chests, bones. Max bones in every slot. All of my hard work was gone. Everything. Kind of like the glitches that were making people's houses crumble. Gone. Then it happened again. Random user 169, the boneyard. After seeing this I was reluctant, but I did it anyways. I walked outside. The fear that was running through my body put me in tears. The ground was nothing but bones. The mountains and the sky melted with bones. I checked the map, and as I was doing it, Random user 169, look. I did not want to turn off the map. The icon was dead center in front of me and I had no control whatsoever of my world anymore. So I did it. I looked. As soon as I saw it, it was burned into my memory forever. A slender and tall dark figure was standing in front of me. It was so hard to get past its vast holes that were eyes. They felt as if you stared into them long enough you will get sucked into them. Its body looked like it was entwined with thousands of burned vines. Vines that crawled over every crevice continuously. It felt alive. All of my villagers were behind it looking at it with a smile. I tried to move my character, but it wouldn't budge. Meowscles approached my character and sent the most chilling electricity down my spine. Meowscles, you're certain to be wearing your best outfit or something special when you come to stay. I said aloud into my controller. What does that mean? Meowscles, the answer is A coffin. My screen went black for almost 2 minutes. I sat there shaking in horror, waiting for something bad to happen. Game, error code 607, there was a connection issue. I was on the main screen of Lego. My world was gone. I immediately took my system to my sister's house and gave it to her. I even bought a new TV. I will never play a game again. Not a single one. Ever.
I woke up one morning at 9:30 p.m. I decided to feed the birds as usual, so I opened the curtains. Inside my windowsill was my friend Rodrigo. I opened the window, and he crawled inside. "Play games?" I politely asked. He replied with an ear-biting scream, which dulled my senses, making his red eyes glow fearfully. "Yay!" I replied, stuffing him in the mirror immediately after. I got dressed, then pulled him out from inside the mirror. We passed the changing hallways, and reached the living room. He fell through the floor, onto the couch. As he sat on the sofa, I activated my Xbox One with my supple beautiful finger. The Xbox made its usual startup screech. I put Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 in the game slot, but it seemed a little strange. Probably because I got it from an old man at a garage sale which sold cursed items. But, probably not. The title screen had no options menu, and no new game option. I laughed because Rodrigo vomited up the souls of the damned onto the ceiling. I pressed load game. There were already 4 slots taken. I pressed the first one. It booted the first level, but it seemed very different than usual gameplays. Everyone died upon spawning, except Groot. The dialogue was replaced with funny screams, and the music was backwards. The volume got louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. The subtitles were saying how to bake yellow snow into a pie. Groot walked towards the screen by himself. His tree face covered the screen, and he bled from his stupid face. His eyes were black, mostly because he was Lego. "You did this to me," he said, as his stupid Groot head merged through the screen, with realistic branches and bloody eyes. "What did I do?" I said with spit oozing from my face hole. "I dunno, bought this game I guess?" he screeched. "Oh, okay," I said. Blood oozed from the power button. I could tell it was blood, because it doesn't taste like jelly. The game crashed, and the Xbox caught on fire with epic flamery. I looked at the camera with a very scared and pathetic look on my face. I passed out immediately after. As I registered consciousness, I felt a long skinny finger fishing in my mouth. It was Rodrigo. His finger was stained with lies. Lies about my duplicating parent. I don't like duplication. I sat up, realizing the previous events which had transpired, and stared sarcastically at the Xbox. The blood jelly was gone. I clasped my hands obnoxiously around the Xbox. "What happened to you, my sweet inedible child?" I screamed with my lip hole. Rodrigo flung his gaze toward the television, and so did I. The game was back in the title screen. "Oh no," I thought out loud with my stupid mouth. Rodrigo technokinetically chose the second save slot. The screen erupted with glowing DJ soldiers eating a man's face off. That man seemed familiar. I looked in the delicious mirror, and back to the TV. I looked back at the mirror. I realized something, and looked back at the game. The little funny Lego man was meh. I looked back at the mirror because I was bored. My reflection was Rodrigo. He was playing Minecraft on my face. I pretended that didn't happen, because he makes me throw up in my pants. I look at the TV, but the Lego DJ men are gone. This game is stupid. I don't like stupid games. Wug. I scream with my funny face head. I look to my feet and see a tender child at the age of 37. I throw the babe at the TV, and he was in the game. His eyes were red and very blood. He slapped the TV and it broke. Rodrigo poked my deformed nose, and I pass out because why not? I woke up to the second face of Rodrigo. He was cussing at me in squirrel. I destroyed his temporary form. I win. Plot twist, he spoke giraffe. I extended my gaze toward the screen. A giant crack loomed in the middle of the movie portal. I screamed in Braille. Rodrigo spazzed out and chose the third slot. I slapped my knee in fear. I opened the Christmas tree and it ate me, because a serial kicker was inside. It was no serial kicker, but the game. I was in the game. I screamed, and I was bored, so I screamed again. I looked at the script to see where I was, but it was blank. A Lego man walked in front of me. "Why have you come here?" he said. "Because this." I slapped him. It hurt me because he's plastic. I crying backwards, and blood. Rodrigo pulled me through the blood vortex, and I arrived at our home, the 18th nightmare dimension. Now that's pod racing. I assumed impolitely. I looked around and screamed at the night. The game. It must be stopped. I smashed my Xbox One with the Wii I found at a cursed garage sale. The Xbox restored its HP. Oof. I screeched. I rubbed my eyes together, anxiously waiting for the fourth slot to be chosen. Everything was slow motion, there was an epic cow flying about, the flaming pig began barking, and we all looked at the TV-vision. Rodrigo transported his vessel in front of the Xbox. He ate the Xbox One. I looked at him and spoke AHHH. He looked at me with his flipping beak, and said, "Must be a Monday." And then I played Legend of Zelda, but you don't know that, it's not on the creepypasta.
The Lego building had been constructed on the dining room table, under a crystal chandelier and past the drawing room where the owner of the mansion had been found, strung up and skinned over a pool of his own fluids. Agent Hardy bent over to examine the murderer's handiwork, a near-perfect replica of the Empire State Building, oozing with blood. A little slice of the victim's skin was between every brick. It was the usual MO of Hardy's unsub, the Lego killer, whose gruesome crimes he'd been tracking across 5 states and counting. The local police chief stood nearby, pale, a handkerchief over his mouth. "Nothing's been disturbed?" Hardy asked. "Everything as we found it, like you request." "Good. Look, you better catch this goddamn sicko." The mayor was a great man, the chief continued, voice trembling. Staunch supporter of the department, founded multiple shelters for homeless youths and stray animals. Quiet. A snap of nitrile gloves punctured Hardy's command. He hated distractions. The Lego killer always left hints, small, plastic ones, and the chief's babbling affected his focus. "Where's the office?" The chief, silent but fuming, led him up a marble staircase. Hardy appreciated the stone's white sheen. His practiced eye easily caught the tiny Legos left for him like a gumdrop road. Meaningful clues that the small-town cop, better suited to drunk drivers and petty crime, would have disregarded. At the top of the landing, Hardy took the lead. He walked down the hallway into a lavish office with plush chairs and fine cognacs on a rolling bar. On the wall hung an abstract painting with a single red Lego stuck in the corner. Hardy spotted it immediately. He pulled the artwork from its hook and found a hidden safe. After the locksmith departed, Hardy pored over the safe's contents. As he'd come to expect, it contained a stack of documents revealing decades of financial crimes, and worse. Photographic evidence of a depravity that only wealthy individuals who'd grown bored with life's usual pleasures would be capable of. When he showed the chief, the poor man lost the rest of his lunch. "Check missing persons reports within 200 miles, Hardy instructed, once the chief recovered. "I'm sure you'll solve a good number." "You're leaving?" "The killer already has his next mark." "How do you know?" Hardy pointed at the Lego skyscraper. "Look at the windows. They're all dark." "Are they?" The chief looked closer. And closer. He finally noticed the one yellow window, high in a corner. "I'll be damned," he said. Before leaving town, Agent Hardy stopped by a diner. It had seen better days, but was quiet enough to think. Though he didn't agree with the methods, Hardy was beginning to admire the Lego killer's resourcefulness and principles. Every time, the victims turned out to be even worse monsters. "Coffee and the paper," Hardy told the waitress. "Free refills, yes? I'll be here a while." He sighed.